a culture of global thinking. But before I do, I want to take this time and say it's an honor to be presenting on Teacher Appreciation Week. And I also want to give a big shout out to Felsler Limited and Education Management for making this conference possible. So let's get started. Global thinking is a mindset, and it understands and appreciates the globalized world, this 21st century, new innovations, robotics, artificial intelligence, new programs coming in to shape our workplace, and our students need to be prepared for that workplace. Now, take a second. I want everyone to take a second. Visualize your favorite teacher growing up, or one of your favorite teachers growing up. What made that teacher special? What made that teacher stand out in your mind? So let's just I'm gonna pause for 3 seconds. Most of you probably thought of that teacher's qualities as being, they built great relationships with you. They made learning fun, exciting. The atmosphere was great. For some reason, they knew the content, but they made you feel good overall learning it. And that's what a globalized preparation program for students thinking about a culture of thinking, globalized thinking, can do. Now, can you see this teacher's face that you love, that made an impact on your life? Hold that face in your mind. Now, for the next 20 minutes, I want you to hold that memory, that feeling that teacher gave you. My personal teacher, my favorite teacher, his name was Mr. Jameson, 8th grade US history. He made history fun and exciting, and that was back in 1991. Now, I would like everyone to think about the schools in your community or the school you work at. Think of the school nearest to your house right now. What does the learning process actually look like? If you're an educator like me, or an administrator, or a parent, or students, most people cannot tell you what the learning process truly looks like without thinking about it for a very long time and analyzing every aspect. So, if you were actually to formulate the learning process at a school, it would take quite a while and you would have a lot of questions. What if all schools had a unique one-page at-a-glance blueprint of education? Something where these 4 pillars, priorities or your goals, academic initiatives, the vision, and the teaching and learning expectations were on one document. Any school and every school in this world has priorities by the leadership and the vision that gives rise to those. They also set upon those academic initiatives upon the teachers and staff. The expectations the staff, the teachers get to take part in committees and subcommittees. I call this PAVE, as in you're paving the way for the future for these students. Now let's utilize this in a much better way for all people to benefit from. One that clearly shows all pillars. Now, currently, most educational systems in the US have these 4 pillars, with a vision obviously being the driving force. But these are compartmentalized on websites and in directives to staff, and even in conversation to parents. When you hear of educational leaders, principals, superintendents, anywhere in the world talk to parents or the community, they break it up in pieces. They talk about goals in one meeting, or they'll talk about the vision, or they'll talk about teaching and learning expectations, depending what's going on. And at the beginning of the year, they'll talk about academic initiatives for that year, or an initiative from the prior year. Initiatives that might succeed or might fail. I call these initiatives, academic initiatives, innovative infusions. Schools around the world love to do these innovative infusions, one-to-one iPads, transformational leadership in this classrooms for this day to next. Let's use social emotional learning this year because a lot of people are doing it. Some schools will stick to those programs because it's very successful for them, and others will eventually get away from those. Now, how many of you would love a at-a-glance blueprint of education? So please bear with me. Can everyone see the screen I'm sharing? Great. Now, look at the vision at the top. This is just an example. Students will graduate as critical thinkers and problem solvers. They will know and understand how to be successful in a global society. Look at the priorities on the left-hand side. Remember, this is only an example. Any educator If you're a teacher watching this, if you're a principal or superintendent watching this, don't pay attention to the boxes, to the colors, to the shapes. You can create your own. I'm just providing a one sheet at a glance blueprint of education that most districts around the world or most centralized or decentralized systems do not have in one area. They have them spread out across their websites and their directives. So let's get back to this. The vision is at the top. The priorities on the side. These are priorities you want to show the community. If you want to substitute the priorities for progress goals, which you can quantify, like percentages and growth, and you can do so as well. At the bottom, the three triangles are your academic initiatives in this example. These are three things in the triangles that are going to be happening for this school year in our hypothetical school district. These three things at the bottom will be infused throughout the schools in this district, and teachers will be trained in these three to better support students. Now, if you look at Texas, for example, Texas has state standards. Please find state standards on this flowchart. Teachers are given state standards. This tells them what and when to teach. It's up to the teachers in the schools and districts and how to do it, but the what and the when is given to us by the state of Texas, just like in most decentralized systems. Now, teachers must put a student-friendly objective here in Texas, in most high schools and other schools, and a language objective for the students to follow along, to understand what the goal is. There's a presentation of lesson. And if you're in STEM schools, charter, magnet, you name it, traditional schools, there's various ways you can present a lesson. Now in Texas, just like in other parts of the world, authentic engagement, rigor, relevance, and technology integration, which are in green, these are very popular right now for professional development, and these are central to many areas of students' performance, and it has been proven that many times students that do not succeed academically can be blamed on one of these three things. Not enough technology helping them support, not enough rigor, or the relevance is off, or they're not engaged in the classroom. Now, I want to take this time and give you a brain break. We're talking about authentic engagement. According to Dr. Klein and Dr. Connell, students who reported high levels of engagement were 75% more likely to have higher grades and attend school regularly. That's huge. In this flow chart, we also see what learning looks like in our example of a school, but most schools in Texas have these type of activities. There's a few missing, but this is not an exhaustive list, but for the purpose of today, I wanted to provide you the main areas of learning that you can see in classrooms across Texas and probably in the United States. Now, assessments. These are all the different types of assessments you find in the United States, ending with state exams at the bottom of the assessments. So what is truly the goal for all of this for the students? What do the students get out of this? Well, you want your student to leave your grade level and eventually leave secondary school, being able to set goals, being able to self-evaluate, because that's what they should be doing in secondary. And you want that intrinsic motivation. So let's move on to the next flow chart. There is only one difference. So before you look all over the screen, it is the center, global competence. Global competence, there's 4 domains: recognize perspectives, investigate the world, communicate ideas, and take action. These 4 domains give rise to global competence. Now, global competence will help drive the presentation of lessons. It can help drive aspects of what learning looks like. So a teacher can make connections to any one of these. Now, I wanted to share with all of you that take action doesn't necessarily mean you have to start right away with real world problems and get the students out in the community. No, they need to start thinking about taking action. What would they do and how would they do it? Now, if you look at scaffolding, scaffolding is your chunking information. When educators anticipate or respond to misconceptions, scaffolding can chunk the information, can use various strategies to help learners. And this can also help with global competence when you tie it into what learning looks like. Now, if a school were to have a learning map like this, a visitor can come to the school, you give them this sheet, and they can literally see everything that's important academically with the school and with the district. Now, if a parent were to go to a school Before they enroll their child, they can say, can I see a blueprint of education? What does the learning look like? Whether it's a Montessori school, magnet, charter, public or private, whether you're in the UK, the US, Singapore, Australia, New Zealand, anywhere in the world, a parent can decide right then and there, is this school right for my child? Maybe my child wants a school that has to do more with STEM, or maybe this school is perfect for my child, but at least they can see the priorities, the vision, the academic initiatives for this school year, and they can see the teaching and learning expectations that you will typically see in a classroom in this school, in this district. Also, new teachers that apply for jobs. If this was posted on a website, they could say, I want to work for that school versus another school in the district because that has more to do with CTE or career technical education. And I want to teach kids a lot of hands-on things to help them. But either way, regardless where you learn, global competence should be tied into your maps. Why? Because in this globalized world, it is getting smaller. People are developing innovative practices where you can work in one place, or you can work at home across the world with a variety of people from different backgrounds, beliefs, and values. Now, how can we get to global competence? What gives rise to global competence are your 21st century skills and qualities. These 6 organizations, I have synthesized what their 21st century skills and qualities are. For the sake of time, I'm only going to go over a few. Number 4, self-regulation. Have you noticed in other sessions earlier today, they talked a lot about self-regulation, about EQ. We now know that studies done in departments of educational psychology, like at Yale, Harvard, Johns Hopkins, the University of Kansas, they now know that positive profiles in students in kinder, first, second grade, they have a high positive profile, as in they have self-regulatory skills, they have social awareness, responsible decision-making. It has been proven that they will succeed academically in later grades much higher than their peers. How about we sustain this readiness for learning from primary school so they succeed academically, sustain this all the way through secondary by instilling 21st century skills and qualities to continue this success for these students in a globalized world. These 10 is not an exhaustive list, and wherever you live, wherever you work, whatever you value, I'm sure there's other skills or qualities you can plug in. But these 10 I found to be the most popular when I synthesized the information from all 6 of these, including the Sustainable Developmental Goals by the United Nations, which are 17 of them. Let's look at number 10, cognitive flexibility. Cognitive flexibility is a person's ability to switch between concepts or tasks efficiently and effectively. It is multitasking on steroids. You're literally able to compartmentalize those tasks in your mind and switch back and forth. And I know as a parent and as an educator myself, I would love it if my mind can switch that quickly, that efficiently, but we should start instilling this. We need to give our students the ability to switch between concepts and tasks, because that's what's going to be demanded from them in the workplace. Now, moving forward. Are you ready to pave the way for global competence in your schools, in your communities? If you're a parent right now, or you know a parent, or you're an aunt, an uncle, you're a grandmother, grandfather, you're a son, you're a daughter, go to your local school, any school in the community, or look it up online. Try to find a simple one-page at-a-glance educational blueprint that can tell you the vision, the priorities, the academic initiatives, and teaching and learning expectations. It'll be very difficult to find that. You would have to search on different links, different pages, maybe even talk to a few teachers to really get the gist, the idea. But if you were to find this, if you were to create this, it would make life easier, not just for parents and for teachers, especially first-year teachers, administrators, but for the community at large, for business and community leaders that wish to team up and partner with the schools. So how best can you support students in understanding this? Here are some expectations to 21st century global workplace, from homeschool and school to work. We have distance learning because of COVID-19 right now. And students should never forget, whether they're in first grade all the way to 12th grade or even in college, they should not forget what is expected of them when they join the workplace or when they even go to college. Let's just look at a few of these due to time constraints. Number 1 and 2, be on time virtually or face-to-face. Well, this is working right now across the world because of distance learning. Communicate effectively and show etiquette. Well, you need to show this because when you go to work, when you go to college, you need to communicate ideas and actively listen. Let's look towards the bottom. Social awareness, virtually and or face-to-face. What does this translate like in a globalized world? This translates to having cultural awareness and sensitivity to others' beliefs and values. I might not agree with your beliefs and values, but I'm going to respect them enough so I can work and collaborate very effectively with you. And that's what matters in a globalized world. So I know there's a lot of information here. This will be recorded. Also, I have contact information towards the end where you can contact me if you would like this particular document. And before I move on, actually, let's move back to work. Can you imagine a workplace that also has on one page at a glance document, a company that has their vision, their priorities, the expectations of their employees, and any type of innovative infusions for that year or short-term number of years? Always updated, ready to go. Employees, mid-management would always be able to see very transparently what's going on and where the company is moving forward. Now, if schools can match this with creating their own educational blueprint, when students go into careers and they see a one-page document with all these things, work becomes much more effective, morale should increase, and your ability to communicate exactly what your company stands for will increase tenfold when others want to know or when customers have questions. Now let's move forward. What is the best way to support our learners in our globalized world when it comes to creating a culture of learning, globalized learning? We need to stop supporting kids by saying, hey, good job on that. General praise does nothing. You must be specific. You must address them by name so that you feel the value. You need to focus on their efforts, not on their abilities for them to really succeed and to grow. Let's look at number 7. Positive attitudes will succeed. As an educator, I know this has been the greatest benefit when I have helped students and when I see students grow. Their attitude has shaped the quality of their work. And it shapes the quality of people working in a globalized world, whether they're working at home because of COVID-19 or they're going to work. One's attitude truly can make or break their morale at work. I'm not saying there's other circumstances that will affect them, but a positive attitude goes a long way. Now, number 10, reflect. Have learners reflect on the processes used to learn, not just on what is learned. They need to reflect on how things are done, why they're done the way they are when learning. Just like workers in the workplace. They have a quota. They should learn not just deadlines, not just points on a board. They need to know how. They need to know the processes at a much deeper level so they can actually be empowered to effectively engage themselves at work to become better workers. Now, this is a successful learning experience and it's engaging culture of thinking and feeling. And this does give rise to having a culture of global thinking in the classroom, in your schools, and in your districts. I want to end on one more brain break. Do you know that the average human brain weighs on average 3 pounds, but consumes 20% of all your energy? Now, if you have a positive mindset, a mindset devoting to globalized thinking, there's no limit to what you can do. I want to thank Felser Limited and Education Management for having me today. Remember, educating the mind without educating the heart is no education at all. If you wish to reach me individually, my email address and my LinkedIn profile is on the bottom of the screen. Now, if you have any questions, please go ahead and ask, or please type them on the side so I can read them.